Hey, and welcome back to You Handled That Perfectly. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Carly.
We're best friends, moms, and entrepreneurs here to talk about the messy, beautiful, and sometimes chaotic journey of balancing business, motherhood, and life. Let's get into it. On today's episode, we decided that we're going to do more about manifestation. We just loved talking about it, had a lot to say, and we got some great feedback. So welcome to our part 2.
We thought this time we would get a little more into the science behind manifesting and how it's not only a fun thing to do, but also proven to help reduce stress, build confidence, give people a sense of purpose. It also enhances adaptability and increases your ability to process information.
I love it. Starting off deep.
Yeah, we're getting real into it this time.
No, it's really a very interesting concept. We talked a lot about the surface level things, positive mindset. One of the things I really wanted to jump into today was the nervous system and manifestation.
I don't know much about that, so I'm excited to hear about it.
So what's really cool is that your ability to manifest is directly tied to your nervous system state. If you're in a chronic stress mode, which is also fight or flight, your body is too busy surviving to be creative, open, or receptive to anything else. Manifestation works best when your nervous system is regulated and you're in that state of safety and ease.
Interesting. I wonder if that's why it works best when you're like in a calm, meditative place,
Yeah, absolutely.
or when you're like when you were doing your visualization workshop.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot of mindset still, but it is also relaxing yourself and making sure you're ready for it. So, nervous system regulation is something I've become really passionate about over the last few years in my health journey. I had a client that I was doing work for and ended up participating in one of her programs, and she does a lot of nervous system regulation work and manifestation. So, that was one way I educated myself. She was a great teacher. And I've also done a few online somatic programs, which have really helped me, and just a lot of research into it. You know, we talk about being learners, and it's just something that I dive into. So, the first thing I want to talk about is being in the fight or flight state versus rest and digest. When you're stuck in fight or flight, you're operating from a place of fear, which makes it harder to trust yourself. Alternatively, when you're in the rest and digest state, or when you're utilizing your parasympathetic nervous system, you feel safe, grounded, and open to new possibilities. And this is where manifestation thrives. The first that I do is breath work. So slow, deep breathing, like box breathing.
Yeah, that's when you breathe in for 5 or something, hold for 5, out for 5, hold for 5.
Yes, usually it's a 4-4-4-4 method. So you would inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold again for 4 seconds. There's also 4-7-8 breathing, where you inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, and then exhale for 8 seconds. This specific set of numbers helps calm anxiety. In general, any way that you can increase oxygen flow to your brain is going to help reduce your stress and calm your nervous system. I know we've both talked to at least our daughters about deep breathing for calming down.
Yeah, definitely. And now my son too. We're like, okay, just breathe, take a
Aw.
deep breath, walking him through it too now that he's getting a little older and starting to realize the ways of the world.
Love it. The next way is visualization. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined experiences. So by visualizing your desired outcome, you're kind of tricking your mind into feeling safe, which obviously has great effects in the long run.
Yeah, that goes back to talking about being who you want to be, or
Yep.
like pretending like you're already there has that effect. And actually, when children are about 8 or 9, I think they start to lie. It's not because they're purposefully being naughty or like purposefully lying. It's a developmental stage that happens in their brain that tells them, no, this is probably true.
Oh, so interesting.
And so it's like when they come to you and they say a lie, it's like, well, you're lying to me. But in their head, they're like, wait, did it happen that way? But
Mhm.
their brain has visualized a certain thing a certain way. And so it's like to them, they don't even realize maybe that they're lying. It's crazy.
Wow. The next technique I want to discuss is movement and somatic release. You know, when you think of relaxation, sort of exercise, people always think of yoga. And it can be, but it's also really doing exercises targeted at relaxing your nervous system. Basically, somatic just means relating to the body. So, somatic exercises are movements that help you tune into your body and release stored tension. Instead of focusing on strength or cardio, these exercises are just about feeling what's going on inside, where you're holding your stress, tightness, or discomfort, and then gently working it out. It's like hitting a refresh button on your nervous system. Somatic exercises help you reset by using slow, mindful movements, stretching, bringing awareness to different parts of your body, and even shaking. I've done specific courses for my neck and shoulders, my low back, my hips. I just feel like, especially for women in their 40s, doing that and kind of releasing the tension in those areas is huge. Dancing is another thing that can help release stored stress and energy.
Yes. I was just talking to a friend. I had lunch with a friend last week, and she owns a ballet studio, and we were talking about ballet. And I had mentioned in my interview episode that I started doing ballet a few years ago. And she said that ballet is one of the few exercises that continues to work for your body for hours after you do it.
Oh, wow. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. Because it's one of those where it's not high intensity that's high impact, but it's high intensity that your little muscles are working. You go and then you stop, and then you go and then you stop. And that is what is helping those muscles and helping your body go for so long after.
Weight training, even just weight bearing exercises in general, I feel like are still highly underrated. I mean, of course, you need cardio for heart health, but really, especially for us women in our 40s, building muscle is huge. You really got to keep that up. And that is a great thing to know about ballet because it's like it's working for you passively.
Yeah. And you do the cardio because you're dancing.
Yeah.
And we do jumps. That's cardio. You're using your strength and your muscles to pull yourself up and push down into the floor at the same time. So your body's doing two different things. You're pushing down and pulling up to get up. You're using lots of different muscles to do it, even though it doesn't seem like it when you're watching it.
But I bet it feels like that after.
Yeah. But it's such a good stretch.
Yeah. The next technique is sensory regulation. And basically, that's hacking your stress through your senses. Your nervous system responds super fast to sensory input. So sometimes calming down can be as simple as changing what's around you. So putting essential oils in your diffuser, wrapping yourself up in a weighted blanket, listening to certain sounds or frequencies can even help calm you down and lower your stress levels. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, try switching up your environment, light a candle, grab a blanket, put on your favorite playlist, because small shifts can have a big impact.
Yeah.
I've mentioned going from fight or flight to rest and digest a few times, but the next technique is basically stimulating your body's built-in calm down button, and that is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is like the control center for relaxation in your body. When you activate it, your nervous system shifts into that rest and digest state. And the cool part is that it's super easy to stimulate. Humming, singing, and even gargling water all send signals to your brain that it's safe to relax. So the next time that you're feeling stressed, if you try humming your favorite song or singing, according to science, it's actually helping you chill out. Just in general, our podcast and kind of our banter is making me realize that this is another really important one to mention too, but also on the heels of the dance ballet talk. Laughter and play. Engaging in fun, lighthearted activities is a really easy, natural way to lower your cortisol.
Yes, that reminds me of something that came up in our mastermind. And my friend Brittany said it's like the mountain theory. If you're by yourself and you're looking at a mountain, it appears really, really steep. But if you're with a friend and you look at a mountain, it's less steep because you're with your friend. And then if you're with a really good friend or a best friend, it doesn't appear steep at all. So it's like when you're taking something on with somebody else, especially with somebody that you enjoy being with, it doesn't feel like such a big leap. Us doing this together, it doesn't feel like it's such a big conquest or whatever because we have each other.
Interesting. I never would have thought about that, but it makes total sense because that's exactly how we felt with this.
Right. And it is just important to have other people with you on your journeys. Humans in general are social.
Yeah.
You have to have other people.
And also, this goes along with your nervous system feeling calm and safe. Who you surround yourself with is really important because if you are in a place where you feel safe and secure, you're going to feel calm. And so you're going to feel inspired and safe.
It just makes things more fun.
Yeah, I agree.
I remember when Tim and I first got together, I had to tell my mom that I was going to Thailand with an essential stranger. But she just started asking me questions about it. And I remember telling her how funny he is, how much fun he is to be around, how it was just easy. He's just so much fun to be around.
Mm-hmm.
He's outgoing and everybody loves him. But it was more than that. I just wanted to be around him more because I felt happier in his presence.
Yeah, that's huge. It's like your body is actually telling you, oh, we feel safe and happy
Yeah.
and this is good.
And then we got home from Thailand and my mom knew he was the one because I didn't kick him out of the house.
True. I feel like that's a true test.
Yeah. 10-day long third date. Nothing like it.
And I feel like it's key to note that you had mutual friends. So you did kind of have a background check on him already done.
We had been friends on Facebook for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So there was that. And we did have mutual friends. Like we kind of knew about each other. But no, it is true. And I think that when you find even the friends that you make in adulthood, when you find somebody who makes you feel that way, like hold on to that person.
I remember when I was first dating my husband, it was one of these things where I wasn't sure how I felt about him, probably because it was such a calm, stable relationship. And us women in our 20s weren't used to that. But I remember thinking, I can't imagine not having him in my life. I mean, it's very similar to how you and Tim were because you guys kept reconnecting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there was something to that. I mean, obviously there was something to that.
10 years into marriage, I think there was something to that.
Something about him. There was obviously something to that we kept going back to each other. The romantic in him says that he knew when it did work out for us to meet up, there wasn't going to be anyone else.
Yeah. No, I've heard that before from people, and I can definitely see that, especially with where he was in life, late 20s, early 30s. It's one of those things where you want to be ready for that relationship. You don't want to mess it up. So I can see why it took some time.
Yeah.
The next technique is actually something we talked about a lot in the first episode with the workshop we went to, and that is journaling and just practices of gratitude. Writing out what you're calling in, acknowledging what you already have, those things signal to your brain that you're in an abundant, receptive state.
Yes, we got that abundance spray from our workshop too. And
yes.
It's incredible. It smells so good.
It really works.
Oh, I'm in this great state of mind.
Mm-hmm. The next one I have not personally tried, but I'm curious if you've heard of it before. It's called tapping or EFT.
Oh,
yeah.
This?
You can't see it, but she's tapping her forehead right now.
I'm like, oh, people cannot see me. Yeah, I just saw a thing about it, regulating your system through taps on the foreheads, right? Like on your jaw.
EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. It works by combining acupressure with affirmations to break the emotional blocks that you have. So you're essentially rewiring your stress response with touch and very intentional thoughts. The basic process for this is to identify the emotion, whether that's stress, fear, or doubt. And then you tap on what are called meridian points, which are the top of the head, eyebrow, under eye, collarbone, etc. And then you pair it with statements like, even though I feel anxious, I deeply accept myself. So obviously, this ties in a lot to manifestation. You are clearing the subconscious resistance so that you can attract what you want more easily. The last one I want to talk about is cold exposure, and I imagine that that's one more people are familiar with. These are things like taking a cold shower, putting your face in a bowl of ice water, or even if you're daring enough, cold plunges. Essentially, you're shocking your system into resilience, and it helps to improve your stress tolerance.
Good for them.
You know, it's interesting. Obviously, I'm not claiming to be an expert on these by any means, but I've heard mixed things about cold exposure or cold therapy because I've heard that for people who have anxiety, it can actually have the opposite effect. And I believe that.
I could see that. For sure.
I feel like those kind of things often make my body go more into the fight or flight mode rather than having the desired effect of resetting my nervous system.
I'm in fight or flight just thinking about it.
Yeah, right? I can see a time and a place for that working, but for me, I don't intend on jumping on the cold plunge bandwagon anytime soon.
No, my husband talks about how he just joined this co-working thing and there's a cold plunge there. And he's talking about how he's really excited for it. And then he's on a trip right now and he said that the hotel he's staying at has a gym with a cold plunge and he went and did it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, good for you because that sounds like the least enticing thing.
Yeah.
He said he did the sauna after. So I don't know if that's helpful.
On our honeymoon, not yours and mine and my
Ooh, we
husband's.
should go on a honeymoon.
We totally should. Well, on mine and my husband's honeymoon, they had, I guess they called it hydrotherapy. And it was kind of a loop in the outdoor spa area where you went through hot and cold exposures. And it was really cool. I think you started off with the sauna, and then you literally dumped a bucket of cold ice water on your head. And then you went into the steam room. And then you went into the cold plunge pool and then in a warm pool. And I mean, maybe because I was 10 years younger, it was fun at the time. But I don't know if it's post kids. My nervous system just, I don't think I can handle that.
Two things on that. One is that I went to this hot spring and they offered something like that. And my friend and I were in one of the hot springs and she was like, and the woman came over and was like, do you guys want to join us for this like cold and hot thing? And we're like, not really. We're pretty comfy in this 97-degree pool, which is cold for
Right.
a hot tub. And then the other thing I was going to say about that is when I went to Costa Rica, we didn't have any hot water in our cabin in one of the places. So we pretty much did it. It was like
Yeah.
cold plunge, and then you go outside to this hot, humid environment.
Yeah.
So it was like cold plunge, sauna. And now I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I've tested it.
I don't need to do it now. But for those of you that it works for you, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You got to find what works.
I mean, there's obviously science backing it.
I think if you work out a lot too, because they say it's really good for that. Like right after a workout to go do the cold plunge, they say it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to believe them
Those experts.
because it turns out I don't really work out and I don't really do cold plunges.
You know, I can see that though. And maybe that's it too, is just finding what works for you, because I have chronic low back pain and it's almost addicting to ice my back. Such a weird thing to say, but when I get in the modes where I ice my back, it's like an addicting feeling and I really have to cut myself off after that 15-minute time frame that they say. They, again.
Mm-hmm.
But then I will do the heat on it and it's like my old little hot and cold therapy.
Well, there's a reason icy hot is as popular as it is.
I actually have a little
You have icy hot on right now?
I do have a little icy hot patch on my back.
I have a new client who does patches. Like icy, like, you know, cold, hot to cold patches.
Yeah. This is not an icy hot patch. I'll have to look up what brand it is.
Yeah.
I think another thing to talk about is the confidence manifestation loop. Obviously, the more you practice manifestation, the more evidence you gather that it works. And you just kind of keep going from there. That builds the confidence, which makes you more likely to take the action, reinforcing the cycle. And then over time, your identity shifts from someone who wants things to someone who expects success. And that's when things really start to align.
Yeah, it's similar to lucky girl syndrome that
Yeah.
we've talked about a few times. Where it's like if you just believe that you're the luckiest girl in the world, guess what?
You're manifesting it.
Yeah.
You are literally already manifesting it. I think it might have been in our mastermind, we had a chat about being lucky versus working hard. And I think that that's something that could be misconstrued when we talk about lucky girl syndrome, because I do feel like we both are very lucky, but also two really hard workers. And so I think that goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not two separate things.
No, you have to work for what you want. You
Yeah.
just also have to believe it's attainable
Yeah.
and that you deserve it.
Ask, believe, receive. Well, ask, believe, work, receive.
Yeah, ask, believe, receive, and meanwhile, put in the hard work
Yeah.
so that you're also making your own things happen.
Yeah. Because you can't just wish for a husband and then stay in your house all day,
Yeah.
like they say.
Yeah.
He's not going to come knocking on your door. Well,
Although-
maybe he's a door-to-door salesman.
Although I did stay in my condo and met my husband online. So,
What did we just see? That thing that said, out of all the things I've found on the internet, you're the best.
yes. I think I have a frame in our house that says that, right? Not yours in my house, but
Ooh, we should get a house together.
We should. When we were younger, didn't we dream about having a house next door to each other that had like a tunnel full of pillows?
Yeah, absolutely. That still sounds
It
amazing.
does sound really amazing.
Tunnel or bridge.
Yeah.
Like a bridge full of pillows, like a skylight
Oh
bridge
my
full of
gosh.
pillows.
Yeah, some sort of outdoor space.
Indoor, outdoor, because
Yeah.
bugs.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I like to be indoor, but I want
Yeah.
to pretend like I'm outdoors. So full window.
Some sort of, yeah, or some sort of screen. I like fresh air.
Well, we could have windows that open.
It's going to be half indoor, half outdoor. My half will be outdoor, yours indoor.
Perfect.
But then my husband would always be on your side of it because he doesn't like
And
the
mine would be on your
outdoors.
side.
Oh my gosh.
My kids would both be on your side too.
And yeah, my kids would probably be on your side. That's really funny.
Wow. Well, someday that's the dream. I also feel like we can't talk about manifesting without talking about quantum theory. So
I just want to point out that that's a really deep sentence. I can talk about most things without talking about quantum theory, but I can't wait to see where you go with this.
also, that made me sound really smart.
You are really smart.
Okay, well, quantum theory is that us and the universe are one energy. So when we're aligned with the universe and we're visualizing our desires, the universe works with us to make that happen. So it's just about being in full alignment with the universe. It's like what you put out there, you get back. So if you're putting out goodness, if you're putting out what you want from life, and the universe works in alignment with you and the power of positive thinking to bring you what you desire. So I found this website called Good Things Are Gonna Come.
Oh, I love that.
I know. And her name's Jasmine, and she is a coach. She's like a mindfulness coach. And I'm going to read part of what she said on her manifestation post because I really liked it. She says that manifestation boosts creativity, enhances adaptability, and supercharges your ability to process information. When your mindset is positive, you're not just opening doors, you're kicking them down with style. Manifesting involves shaping your mindset, breaking down limiting beliefs, and aligning your energy with your goals. And it's the actions you take that truly make the magic happen. I thought she worded that so well.
Yeah, that's very eloquent.
But it just goes back to like being in alignment with your future, where you want to go, what you want to do, believing in yourself and believing that what you want is the right thing for you, and then putting it out to the world, putting it out to the universe, and letting that goodness come back your way. So being in alignment with the universe and then visualizing your desires, the universe starts working with us to make that happen. And I like that it's not like the universe is working for you or that you're trying to work alongside the universe. It's like the two energies are working together to make your desires come true.
It's like a nice melody.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I think I even sent you something today that really goes hand in hand with that from Lewis Howes on Instagram. And it said that a friend made the suggestion to start a note in my phone called Good Things Are Always Happening to Me, and to purposefully find something to add to it every day. Absolute game changer. And I just love that.
I do too. I've seen that and I love it too. Just like really paying attention to like all the gratefulness around you.
I think that's a really nice thing for working with the universe, like you said, because it really takes everything that happens and puts it in a really nice light, kind of rose colored glasses, but in the best possible way.
Yeah. I mean, even if you've had a bad day, there's always something in it that could be good.
It's funny that you say that because I always used to do peak and pit with my kids at dinner. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I'd always have them say the pit of their day, so the worst thing or a bad thing that happened, and then the peak of their day. And recently I cut out the pit part. I like it in theory because you kind of get it out there, you vent and you let it go. But I felt like it was becoming too much of a prominent part of that. And so it's funny because my kids are a little resistant to it. It's like, hey, I want to tell you the bad part of my day. But I just ask them now to tell me the best part of their day or something good that happened today. You know, whatever comes to mind when I ask that. And I'm not saying I don't let them tell me the bad parts of their day. This is just specifically for dinner time. It really does kind of color the way you see the day, because it's almost like if I was having them write that down in their diary, their journal, that would be the way this day was remembered. And I like that.
I do too, because when you look back, you can't really remember all the things, but if you looked back and only saw good, it would feel really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just saw that thing that said that one negative person in a group can bring down the whole group and cause conflict and confrontation, and projects don't get done. I mean, it's just all due to like one bad outlook. And it's so true.
So true.
We're not just going to sit here and be negative. You know, when you're negative, it just makes the situation seem that much worse than it really needs to be.
I mean, it is interesting because there's a fine line between processing something and kind of dwelling on it and letting it get you down.
Yeah, true. Also, just noting, this is the 4th manifestation thing we've recorded.
Speaking of keeping a positive attitude.
Yeah, the first one I accidentally deleted. I'm Carly. I promise I'm tech savvy. We forgot we recorded manifesting, and so then we re-recorded it, and then we found that one, and now we're recording more.
It's wild.
And we're wearing the same outfit.
We are. We'll post a pic. We're wearing the same outfit. Unplanned.
Unplanned. I showed up today to record, and when I came into the room, Kelly and I looked at each other and started laughing because we were wearing the exact same thing.
Which really shouldn't be that surprising because it's black yoga pants and sweatshirts that we got together. So it still was mind blowing.
I mean, how many sweatshirts do we own?
Yeah. It's funny because I was thinking with the sweatshirts, because we have You Handled That Perfectly sweatshirts that you made for us. You also made me a You Handled That Perfectly background for my phone. And that was actually something I had on my phone background for kind of a while. And it's funny because I remember people used to comment on it. And I kind of said, oh, well, it means more than that. Like to us, it means way more than just You Handled That Perfectly.
Yeah.
But I always found it so interesting that whoever read it, immediately it resonated with them. It was like, oh, that's so motivating. Oh, that's so great.
All that to say, what you put out there, you get back.
Dress for the job you want.
Ask, believe, receive.
If you build it, they will come.
Flowing, not forcing. All the faves. So let's say we put our goals out to the universe. Like, what if it doesn't happen or it doesn't seem like it's happening? What do you do?
I think the main thing with manifesting is realizing that sometimes you're going to have to reassess and go back. Because first of all, things rarely happen on your timeline. So I think it's a matter of being okay that you may have to change what you want or what you're willing to do to get what you want. I mean, that's huge too. You don't just say, I want to create a business. I'm putting it out to the universe and then just sit there at your desk waiting for it to happen. You obviously have to make the moves. But also it might just be that there's other stuff that become more important in your life that are making it, let's say that you don't have enough time to do exactly what you want to do. So you have to come back to the drawing board and reassess and decide what's going to be the most important thing for you to manifest that year.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think being adaptable is a huge part of it and being able to shift and also allowing things to come your way that maybe you weren't expecting that would then shift your goal.
Yeah.
If you're not open to new things, if you're so focused on this one thing, you might miss other opportunities. Giving yourself the space and allowing other things to come your way or allowing more things to come your way, different things is a big part of it too.
And allowing yourself the grace to be okay that you might not be getting things as fast as you want them, or things might not be happening as fast as you want them to.
Yeah, give yourself grace.
Mm-hmm.
I was with my cousin this weekend, and she is 4 months postpartum, and with the sweetest little baby. Oh my God, you would love this little baby.
Aww.
So happy and snuggly still, you know. But 4 months is the hardest time for moms. Like 4 months postpartum, like you lose your hair, your hormones rush, your baby's going through 4 months sleep regression. I mean, there's like a lot of hard things about 4 months. And my cousin was just saying how she doesn't feel like she's where she thought she would be. And I mean, that's exactly what I told her. Please give yourself grace. You just had a baby. She also has a 4-year-old. She owns her own dog grooming business, mobile dog grooming. So she's out driving around, grooming dogs.
Not something that's easy to do postpartum anyway.
Right. Wrestling dogs around.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was just like, man, you have to give yourself grace. For me, it was at least a year before I felt remotely back to myself.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever new version of myself was going to be after having kids. Oh, and I was going to say, actually, speaking of which, speaking of nothing, because we talked about this a long time ago, but we did talk about it. So speaking of it, I was going to add to your nervous system thing what we had talked about in one of our other episodes, TBD, was that calm is a superpower,
Mm-hmm.
which even more so,
Yeah.
like even more so, because if your nervous system is regulated and you're calm, oh, what a huge superpower.
Oh, totally. And speaking of being calm, let's talk about cortisol. Cortisol is the body's primary stress hormone, and it's released when you experience stress, whether that's physical, mental, or emotional. And that really is what led me to nervous system regulation and somatic practices. So when you were just talking about calm being a superpower, I see that so strongly because I really started to notice how dysregulated I felt. And I figured out I had high cortisol, which is great if you're living in a jungle because it plays a really useful role in survival. Helps.
And also, like, props to you if you're living in a jungle.
But I mean, it helps you react quickly in dangerous situations. But chronic high cortisol leads to fatigue, anxiety, brain fog, weight gain, and it makes it even harder to manifest what you want. I feel like there are so many things that tie into this concept of manifestation, but you really do need to take a look at your body, kind of see what those signs and symptoms are trying to tell you. When your cortisol is constantly elevated, it signals to the nervous system that you're in that fight or flight mode, which makes it difficult to feel safe and trust yourself, like we talked about before. So, embracing that you want calm to be your superpower.
I feel like cortisol has been a big topic. I've been seeing a lot of it around, and I didn't know much about it before recently. So many health related things having to do with women's bodies and hormones, and all of that has just not been something that I've spent a whole lot of time researching.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I hit 40, I was just like, oh my gosh, I should really look into this. I know you know a lot about supplements and finding out what works for your body. And I haven't done a whole lot of research myself on that. And I had started taking pre and probiotics. And both times I took it, I got sick.
Interesting.
I know.
It's like your body is trying to rid itself of those toxins, though. Maybe that is the sign that you need it.
Maybe because they say if it like we spray magnesium oil on our feet, right? Like
Yeah.
if it tingles or if it's cold or whatever, it's just your body absorbing it, saying it
Mhm.
needs it. I did kids magnesium oil on both my kids, and my daughter, she was tired through the whole next day at school.
Oh, wow.
And needless to say, we haven't done it since. And then my son, it has helped him with his sleep because he was tossing and turning, and it has really helped him. And I've been using it too. And it's funny because when I have a really busy day the next day, or I know I have to get up early, I won't spray it on my feet
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, nope, I need to be awake and alert. And it does really overly calm me down.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And it's a process. So, I mentioned that I have worked with a naturopath and looking at the supplements that she wants me to take and comparing it to what I want to take has been really interesting. One of my oldest and closest friends is a nutraceutical rep. So she basically is a pharmaceutical rep, but for vitamins and natural supplements. Talking to her and picking her brain and seeing what's worked for me and doing research. And it has become so much more important after 40. It's wild.
Yeah.
It makes sense why women are so much more sensitive. I mean, we are on a 28-day hormonal cycle. Men are on a 24-hour hormonal cycle.
Yeah, they're so hormonal.
It's such a sick joke though. I feel like 3 weeks a month I don't feel like myself.
I know what you mean. I started looking into other supplements, and I had taken these ones that were for hair. They were supposedly specific to your body, but they gave me canker sores.
Oh yeah.
So then I had to stop taking those. I feel like there's something, like I'm going to find it eventually. Like, what is it?
Well, it would be interesting to get a panel done too, like a blood panel to see. Have you had one of those done to see if you're deficient in anything?
Only when I was pregnant, and they did
Yeah.
that one and told me that at the time I was iron deficient.
Right. That would be interesting to look at because I do feel like too when I've gotten my blood panels done, it's kind of confirmed if my iron was low or my ferritin was low. Yeah, well that makes sense of why I don't have a lot of energy. And then as that increased, I wasn't having tiredness issues anymore.
And then you probably wouldn't need like 6 shots of espresso in every cup of coffee that you have 4 times a day.
Again, we're not experts. It's just something I feel like we've become passionate about. and it's something to look into. Everything goes hand in hand. The somatic practices, the nervous system regulation can really help lower your cortisol. And as your cortisol becomes in the normal range, your body is in that safer, calm state and more open to manifestation.
If you're looking for more information on a podcast that talks a lot about hormones and perimenopause and menopause itself and all of that, then you can check out Dr. Sherry Price's podcast.
She's so intelligent.
She gets real into hormones and hormone regulation for menopausal women.
I also think that we'll go ahead and link some of our influences in an Instagram post who we enjoy looking to for this information.
I think it's really interesting what you were saying about the nervous system too, and just keeping it regulated. I mean, we've talked a lot about how I stay calm in chaos, and I think that it's someone has to be,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like that's kind of our default setting too as the mom is like we end up having to do that.
Yeah, you're forced to be that strong, calm person. But I would love to know more about like how to get yourself regulated when you're feeling out of control.
Sort of like a go-to quick fix.
Yeah.
So I think what we should do is that I will record a guided practice separately and we will release that in our feed. So stay tuned.
That about wraps up our chat. Do you want to talk about a win for the week?
Yeah, speaking of staying calm in the chaos, my son had a big meltdown this week and he hasn't had one in a while. He just turned 6 and it's a natural part of growing up. And so my win is that I stayed completely calm and weathered the storm and handled it
Perfectly.
Yeah. And I think what's more is that I recognized that I was exhausted from it emotionally and kind of acted accordingly afterward. Asked my husband for support. We literally went and got a coffee before we were going somewhere else because that was just kind of a little treat. But, also that energy boost. And so the win is being able to be that calm for my kid, but also doing what I needed for myself afterward. And I feel like that was just a double win for me this week.
It's such a big win for you because so often you give up the self-care part and just focus on the fixing what's wrong with
Yep.
what's happening with other people and trying to address what's happening and make it better. And then you don't take care of yourself. And so such a big win for you to then say, okay, we got through this and my son is feeling better. And now I'm going to help myself feel better too. And that could be a lot of different things. I mean, it could just be taking 5 minutes to yourself, or it could be going to get yourself your favorite coffee, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Taking that time for you, like that is a really big win.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's funny. I kind of feel like in every episode recently, I've had a recollection or like a little gem where you're completely surprised by something I say.
Oh, really?
And I think this is that moment. But I remember when I was pregnant that you told me, remember, you can't pour from an empty cup because you know me and you knew that that was going to be my struggle with motherhood, was like letting myself get drained. And it's so funny because neither one of us at that time could have ever imagined what motherhood was like. But I always think back to that and I really do strive for that. Just recognizing that it might not be in the order that I expected or need sometimes, but like you said, after he was calm, addressing myself.
That was really good advice for somebody who didn't have kids yet.
I think it was just coming from a place of you
Knowing that
Yeah.
you put everybody ahead of yourself.
Oh, well, that sounds so nice, but also, shoot, I shouldn't.
Well,
All right, one last fun thing before we wrap up. What is your song of the week?
well, I'm obsessed with this little duo called O.C. Elliott, and they have a song called This Beautiful Life, which I love. First of all, both their voices are amazing, and then when you bring them together, it's perfect. This song has really sweet lyrics. In part of it, she says, "I'm looking forward to multiplying these times. I'm ready for the sad times we'll find. But all these scenes and these colors and your eyes, you know I love this beautiful life." And it's just nice to recognize ups and downs and that you're going to go through it. But all of this that's happening is so beautiful. And we just really love this life that we're in the times that we're in it.
I couldn't agree more. And it's such a beautiful song. It's called This Beautiful Life by O.C. Elliott,
Yeah.
and you'll find it on our playlist.
Along with more of their songs. It was actually really difficult for me to narrow down to one of their songs because I love them so much. I was ready to add literally all of their songs to our playlist.
I will put the link to our You Handled That Perfectly playlist on Spotify in the episode show notes. You can also find it in our Instagram profile or on our website at youhandledthatperfectly.com.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you all so much for tuning in today. We're really excited to have you here. If you love this episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also connect with us on Instagram at youhandledthatperfectly for more information and updates.
In case no one's told you today,
You handled that perfectly.
bye.